It's a great pleasure to bring Ryan Ross up here to have a conversation with us. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Don. Wonderful. Can you guys hear me? Okay, beautiful. Well, thank you, Don, I'm glad we connected on LinkedIn. That worked out really well. Happy to be in Georgia. This isn't my first time. The first time I was in Georgia, I was a kid. My grandfather's from Georgia, and he would drive me around to these little roadside stands, and they had boiled peanuts. And I don't know if that's a big thing anymore, but I made them in my dorm room in college. I still make them. They're great. I love boiled peanuts. But anyways, this is not about the past and what I did in Georgia. This is about the future. This is about megatrends and becoming future-proof, harnessing these 4 megatrends that I'm going to speak about today to your advantage so you can shape the world to your advantage. Really quick poll, because maybe there's some C involved in this. How many of you offer financial planning services or advisory services to your clients? Any hands out there? Okay, I see a few. Actually, I don't want hands. I want spirit fingers. So 2 hands up. Give me some spirit fingers if you offer financial planning services. Anybody? There. Okay. How many offer benefit services? Spirit fingers again, please. There we go. Maybe a woo. Okay. All right. Insurance services to your clients. Hands up. Woo! All right, there we go. This is going to cover things for all of you guys. We're going to talk about 4 mega trends. We're going to talk about the challenges of the industry. And we're going to, at the end of it, I'll offer some solutions using marketing, but also we're going to dive into some cool technology that you guys can use in your practice today, tomorrow, for the next few years. The technology is going pretty quickly, but we're going to cover a lot of these things. Who am I? As Don mentioned before, my name is Ryan Ross. I founded Independent Financial Advisor Marketing a few years ago. I spent 10 years at Dow Jones doing advertising sales at the Financial Times. 2 advisors. I worked at a marketing technology company called BrightTalk, which was a webinar platform, and I helped their clients do content marketing and put on webinars through COVID, right? Then after that, broke off, started my own company. I wrote a book on digital marketing, and for fun, I like to do long-distance triathlons, which I don't really recommend, but they do teach us about long-term thinking, which is really important, especially today, when everything is really, really short-term, right? Another guy that doesn't have a lot of hair also thinks about long-term thinking and value creation. Value to me means I'll do that for you. I'll do that for you. If the value is finding insurance, I'll find you your insurance, right? If the value is a cheeseburger, the cheeseburger will make you less hungry, right? Value means I'll do that for you. And long-term thinking is about doing that over 10, 20 years. The guy that says this, your margin is my opportunity. Anybody know who said that? Any idea? Bald hair, lots of money. Jeff Bezos said that, right? We all know this. He started the biggest company on earth, probably. I have a supplement to that. My supplement is their information margin is our content opportunity. Where there is a lack of information or knowledge, we can fill that with content and answer those questions. That's going to be a core part of this presentation today. So think about that as I go through the next few slides. Their information margin is our content opportunity. First, we got to start at the very beginning. This is about the future, but it's actually need to start in the past to set some context. And this all starts with government policy and how people interacted with that policy. If we offer insurance, we definitely know who this guy is, right? His name is Levi Ward. He was the first insurance agent for New York Life and Trust Company in like the 1830s. He wrote them a letter and he said, hey, New York Life and Trust, I want to be your on-the-ground representative in Rochester, New York. He started the brokerage industry, Levi Ward. Fast forward a few years, talking about benefits, right? Amex. Amex was the first company in 1875 to offer a pension, probably to be competitive, right? A lot of companies offer great benefits. If you've ever been to Google, you know that they have great benefits too. You can get free burritos. It's awesome. But benefits are a big part of why somebody works at a company, aside from a paycheck. The benefit that they created was a pension, and it was really successful. It was so successful that utilities companies followed suit. And as more people started to work in large corporations, they realized, wow, there's a lot of money in corporate hands. Not sure if we like this. Not sure if we like this. So a senator from New York, Jacob Javits, he wrote some legislation that was talked about earlier today that we all kind of operate under, because he viewed that these pensions were in the hands of corporations and they were a threat to the American pocketbook. So he wrote something called ERISA, the Employee Retirement Income Security Act, which gave individuals the power to manage their own money, right? This also created the modern financial advisor, effectively. But what it also did was it put the onus of financial education on the individual. People were responsible for knowing the things about their finances, right? For all the best reasons this was made, but financial education really lagged behind this. So 50 years later, we have some of the most populous states in the country are not doing great in financial education. New York, California, Boston, like MIT is in Boston, right? You'd think that they'd be doing better. Georgia's doing pretty well, good job. South Dakota also, not sure. Let's zoom in a little bit. Let's look at the products that people are not familiar with. They're definitely familiar with what a 401k is. But if we look at the Roth IRA, 42% of people are not aware of accounts that are synonymous with retirement. They have no idea what it is. Some of them are aware, and some of them even use them. But this right here, I'm gonna ask you for those spirit hands again, because what is this? This is a content opportunity. This is an opportunity for us to educate the audience on what these things are, right? Let's zoom out again. Let's look at our students. This is a financial grade by state, part of the Center for Financial Literacy's report card in 2017. Again, some of the most populous states have failing grades in education. 5 states have an A. That's wonderful. Georgia's got a B. Really good job. But 10 states, including DC, they don't even have a D or an E. They have an E, they don't have an F. I think that's a typo. I don't know who wrote the report. They got an E. What happened there? Let's zoom in a little bit. 3.5 million students, this is 50% of high school students, are failing in education, financial education. This is a big problem. Our future is failing, right? Benefits also have opportunities. I love this slide because this is so good. 57% of employees feel that they have enough information about their company's benefits, and 25% report they want a little bit more. But the better statistic is right here. I love this. 73% of employee respondents want more education on their company's benefits. Massive opportunity. Oh, face, where'd it go? There it is. Content opportunity. I'm going to step aside for a second. This is Ryan as a consumer. I would love this stuff. My wife works for Mondelez. We have to pay $3,000 extra because we probably checked the wrong check when our son was born in December. I'm still fighting this. People need education on these things because then they will feel more empowered, right? Let's double click into the products. I was talking with Debbie about this earlier. A lot of people are aware that these products exist. Health insurance, that's kind of like, oh, you get a job, you get health insurance, right? 63% of people actually take it. Maybe that's because they get it from their wife or their husband, etc. But the biggest margins here, health savings accounts, big margin on this. 55% of people are offered a health savings account. 31% actually take the health savings account. Why? I have a theory, and I'll get to that in a second. But what is this? Boom. That's a content opportunity. These are things people have questions about. So, just to recap this first little section, right? Old government policy led to poor financial literacy. I think we can all agree upon this now. Do we have a savior? is there a savior in all of this, right? Something has saved us because we're doing a little bit better if you look at the more recent statistics. Well, tech probably saved us, didn't it? Tech we have a love-hate relationship with tech. It accelerates everything, and AI kind of accelerates that a little bit more. But let's look at tech. Tech is nice and simple, isn't it? It's pretty complicated. This is a kind of scary chart. Why is it a scary chart? Is it scary because the bullhorns on the eToro? No, that's not scary. Excel can definitely be scary if you're opening up one and don't know what's in it. The scary part about this is actually the fact that, first, mass AI is not in this. This is in 2021. 2021, a stock jumped up 700% based upon people talking in a Wall Street Bets, a Reddit subforum. It is where people are sourcing their ideas that is the most scary, in my opinion. That stock bump, that was the GameStop stock bump, that was driven by this guy. His name is Keith Gill. Not a bad guy. He is a CFA charter holder. He's got credentials. He worked at MassMutual, right? Not a bad guy. They called him Roaring Kitty. He was the meme stock guy, liked GameStop, according to the movie. He got out of the market in 2021 after this debacle happened. He's getting back in. He tweeted this in 2024. This is what the FT had to say. They were not happy. But Americans stayed in the market, right? It took all of their COVID vacation money, pushed it into the market. This is where GameStop happened, right? They kept staying in. They liked it. GameStop didn't really like it. Gabe Plotkin, Melvin Capital didn't like it. But you know who loved it? Robinhood loved this. They got so many accounts because they were enabling people to trade with their own money, right? Which they should be able to. They should be able to do that because this is America and people can make their own decisions. This is where GameStop happened. They kept pumping it in. How did they do this? You guys know how they did it? They made it very fun. You buy a stock, your phone shakes, you get confetti. I hear that Jamie Dimon will call you and tell you he respects you as an investor after you make a trade. Just kidding. That's going to probably AI will do that a little bit. But it's like Americans hit the lottery, right? We have all the tech that enables us to trade the money, getting a lot of credit there. But what happens when you hit the lottery? We all know what happens when they hit the lottery. You automatically, matrix style, absorb all of the information about how to be responsible with your money, right? Just kidding. You're probably going to buy an ice cream truck. I would buy an ice cream truck. That sounds kind of fun. But what do people realistically do? They go towards the things that are pleasurable. They go towards the things that they like doing a lot. What does that usually come out to? Well, go to the Waffle House. They go to Atlantic City. Sometimes not so good things. Maybe baking or something. I don't know if they're baking there. Maybe they go shopping. Benefits are the opposite, though, because benefits are like complicated and you don't know what to do. So generally you just don't do anything because there are so many different players in the benefit space, right? This is a mosaic of all the benefits, carriers, dealers, bots, distributors. You got to go online and type into the bot, ask for questions. This is all very complicated from the consumer's perspective because there's so many options. And if you're working at a big company, or even at a small company, you might be dealing with a lot of these companies, right? So you're not sure what to do. So what happens when you don't know what to do and it's not money? You don't do anything. This is a McKinsey study. Many employees don't bother fighting through the confusion to better understand the options available to them, and that results in underutilized and unoptimized benefits that could help their family. So that's a content opportunity right there, right? She's taking a picture, which is great. I'll have the slides ready for download as well. I'll have a QR code at the end. This is so important, especially for you guys. These huge content opportunities, right? So, Government policy led to poor information. Tech made it easy to invest with your poor financial literacy, kind of irresponsible, but it also led to unutilized benefits. So what did tech also enable us to do? We use it every day. It's really easy. It's on our phone. We can share things with people. Made it really easy to share and talk to the right people about financial stuff, right? You're speaking directly to the right people. Let's talk about social media. Where do we go? You get a windfall, you're automatically going to go to who, right? You're going to go to the influencers. You're going to go to social media because that's what's comfortable and you see them all the time, right? They have your best interest. Unfortunately, that industry is not very friendly to financial advisors. They don't trust them, right? But actually, sometimes people do go to their financial advisors, right? 31% of people go to their financial advisors. This is a Northwestern Mutual study. That means 69% of people are going to non-professional people for advice. What do we call that? That's a content opportunity right there. And see this 3%? That 3% is not a little bit. 3% is how you get disrupted. You guys know who this is? This is Clayton Christensen. He wrote The Innovator's Dilemma. He teaches a class at Stanford on disruptive strategy. Disruption, which is a very overused word, happens when you disregard the small player eating up your small margin items that you don't care about, small margin, until they're a bigger problem that you realized. This is the content creators. These are the influencers. And this is not going away because there's so much money involved. They're making podcasts and webinars and courses that they charge for, or they're getting brand deals because they're making great content and the audience loves it. So they keep making it, right? And we're right here. $200 billion market. 5 years, this is going to triple. So this is what the cycle looks like. It's a virtuous cycle. They make differentiated content. That means they then acquire an audience. The audience watches it a lot. They build trust with that audience. They sell to a brand who wants to get in front of that audience. And then they reinvest those profits back to make more content. That goes around and around because people like it. They keep getting money. And that's the incentive right there. And they should do that because this is America and that's what they should be able to do. They should be able to have these choices because they are providing value to people. Right? It's more entertainment value. But there is a problem. A, they're taking in the advice, which they probably shouldn't be taking the advice, but they don't know. And B, this is the real big problem. Many influencers do not obtain the right qualifications to actually give that advice. They're just giving it because they know that, oh, hey, I saw this on Reddit and I'll say it too. Right? It's a cycle. So they're not giving the good advice. Because they've been using the platforms, they are underqualified in giving advice, but they are overqualified in creating content. They've been living in these platforms for the last 20 years, right? And this little thing over here, this is social media. This little tiny portion of the whole ecosystem. It's not that big. They've just been using these platforms. They know how to use it. Instead of going into financial services, they went to work for Mr. Beast, or name your influencer, because that's a fun place to work, right? It'd be cool. You're going to be locked in a box for 4 days. That's what he does, right? They're not providing actual value, but that's a sexier place to work, apparently. So this is the challenge. They had a choice. They could have either worked in marketing or content creation, or they could have worked in financial services. And this is the challenge that we find ourselves in today. Well, they have systems and processes and they make a standardized product because they know how to do all these things, right? They're really good at it. So we have social media, which means it's easy to take advice from unqualified people, but it's also meaning that they're not interested in our industry. Then we have the next thing, which is the advisor birth rate, which the gentleman before, he was speaking about these things, which are really important right now. Right? There's a session on this later. solving this. But I just want to tell you where we are. There's a little bit of good news, though. The next 5-10 years, 55,000 new advisors will join the industry. That's a 17% growth. This is according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So 17%, the industry is going to grow, right? Well, unfortunately, people retire. They age out. In the next 10 years, 109,000 advisors will leave the industry. And just because math, that's a negative birth rate. Of the people that do stay in, the advisors that do stay, 72% will fall out because it's hard to do this work, right? It's hard to stay as an advisor. So we have a negative birth rate. Insurance is no different. Over the next 15 years, 400,000 jobs will be open. Why? Because millennials are like, nah, I want to work in content marketing, right? So this is where we are. This is a huge opportunity, though. So we have poor financial literacy in the country. Tech is making it really easy to do stuff that we shouldn't be doing. We have social media, makes it easy to take advice from people that we shouldn't be taking advice from. And we have no succession plan. Clients go elsewhere, so our business model is kind of flawed. But there is actually the person in this room that can solve this. I saw them walking around earlier. Who is that? It's not Tony Robbins, but he has great ideas. He said, it's not about your resources, it's about your resourcefulness, using those resources to your advantage, to bend the world to your reality. So what resources do we have? We're awash in resources. We have culture, we have events like this, really important events like this. We have education, we have experience, we have teams, we have clients. Our clients have kids, and the kids have that technical experience too. So the answer is actually who I've been trashing the whole time. Not the kids. It's the influencers. It's not everything about them, but they do teach us something that we can use. They have figured something out. Two things. They figured out two things. First thing, well, they know how to plan. They love planning things. Who here has a content calendar? Content calendar. Anybody? All right, we can fix that. Content calendar. This is really, really big because when I think about like long-term stuff, I do 140 miles a day for a triathlon. It's a long-term thing. You got to think about expending your energy over a long time period. You're going to screw up at the beginning. You're going to get a cramp in the first 10 minutes because you didn't have enough salt. So you plan. You train for 6 months. How does this compare to content creation? Plan your days out. Plan your media out over the next 12 months so that at the beginning you know, hey, you know what? I'm probably going to say something wrong in my first webinar. That's okay. I got the next one. I'm probably going to have a weird guest on my podcast. That's okay. We won't promote that one as much. Think long term about this because this is what the influencer is doing and they're very good at it and they read the analytics too. What are we talking about in this episode that people liked? Oh, we should do more of that. Think long term. Plan your calendars out. The second thing they do really well, they have found a way to synthesize something that is so critical to this industry. They've found a way to synthesize, well, I want to tell you a story to explain this point. This is a story about two grown men in Santa suits and a little girl. That's me, that's my daughter. She was like a year old then. She's very happy to be in my arms because I see her every day and sometimes I give her cookies, right? She really likes me generally. But when I hand her to a guy with a bowl full of jelly or a belly full of jelly that she's only really heard of once, right? She's not a big fan. I'm going to zoom in on that. Not too happy because she has not been exposed to him over the years, right? Eventually, we'll turn that frown upside down. But how does this relate to like content marketing and whatever? Well, consistent content creates trust. Consistent content creates trust. When your face is in front of somebody so often, they naturally will gravitate towards you because they'll be like, wow, I've seen your face before. I kind of trust you. It needs to be positive. So how can you guys benefit from this? Well, You can use these tactics to supplement your existing tactics. Kitsy's put out a report. If you guys don't read Kitsy's, he's a great source of knowledge. He put out a report outlining the 24 different tactics advisors use to generate more business, to market their business. Client referrals are at the top. That makes sense to me. Centers of influence, the same thing. In-person networking. But if we look at this little red box, high growth practices. Those are practices with the top third of revenue. They are also likely to use supporting tactics to amplify the results of their primary tactics. Supporting tactics, specifically search engine optimization. And I will extend that to two others. Search engine optimization, seminars, and videos. What is search engine optimization? Anybody know? Oh, what? It is how you get higher on Google. That's exactly right. That's how you speak to the search engines, right? You want to make sure that your content speaks to the search engines, because the search engines highlight demand for what the audience wants. And if you can create content that answers that demand, and you do it in the right way using the technicals, we're going to talk about this in a second, you're going to be going higher up. Not only that, when you get a referral, who do the people that are referred to, what do they do before they speak with you, right? They probably Google you. And if you're not showing up, well, they'll be like, you don't have a Facebook? I didn't have a Facebook when I got engaged, and my wife was like, you don't have a Facebook? She thought it was creepy. So I got a Facebook. But having that online presence is so important, specifically because when you get referrals, people will ask for you. I have a client, he had this exact problem, so now we have a strategy for him that helps him show up better, right? Using seminars and videos, taking that content, churning it into a blog that's optimized for SEO will help you show up better. We're going to talk about these things in a second. I have an exercise. Steven's going to help me. It's going to be great. But because everybody is doing this, you really need to differentiate. Because when you differentiate in a crowded landscape like we have right now, you're going to see superior growth metrics because you stand out. How do you stand out? When everybody's wearing a suit, how do you stand out? Don't put on a meat suit. That's just weird. Don't pull a Lady Gaga. How do you stand out? Educate people consistently. Answer the most basic questions on a consistent basis, right? Using that information margin to create your content. We'll talk about how to do this in a second. To differentiate, create, exist, or educate consistently. So, we've talked about a lot of these trends. What do you do now? I've highlighted all these problems, etc. Well, first of all, you need to pick a niche. A niche is a very specific type of person that you want to speak with. I'll speak about how to do this right now. Solve that niche's problem by educating them. Focusing on your niche 100% means identifying a group of 1,000 people or companies and speak directly to them, right? Literally, get a list of all the companies that you want to work with, right? Find them on LinkedIn, add them on LinkedIn, call them up, say, what are your challenges, right? You can also look at industry research, but you want to speak directly to those people. Who are the 20% of the people you already have that you're working with, right? Top 20%. Somebody was like, how do I pick a niche? Who do you already work with that you've done great work with, that you could probably do more work with? Identify the people that are just like them. Maybe there are affinity groups within that group. Maybe they like cycling, or they like bird watching, or golf. Bring them to the Masters. Easy as that, right? Find that group and market directly to them. It can also be direct mail. Send them cookies. Off-season, they will definitely take your call if you send them warm cookies. This is a total strategy that people use. Also, networking groups. If you're a part of a networking group, it's a really good way to create content. Because what it does, and I have a specific example of this, one of my clients, he's a part of BNI and Provisors. And every week he goes into BNI and Provisors and say, hey, I'm doing a webinar and a podcast. Do you want to come on, Joe? And Joe comes on, we host a podcast for him. We put it on LinkedIn as an event, right? Joe can then share that with all of his friends, saying, hey, I was on this, right? Great exposure for Joe, great exposure for you as well. And then Joe's like, oh, I should refer some stuff to him, right? I have a client, he got 10 leads in 1 month just based using that strategy. Find the people that you know already and work with them, partner with them, because they have networks as well, and you can share stuff with their network. The Beatles is a unique story. I have a client, and he has a list of business owners, right? Business owner is very vague, but we broke it down into 4 groups, right? People that just sold stock. They had a big liquidity event, right? Or their company went public. That's ring the bell Ringo. George of the Jungle George means he's worked corporate for his whole life, and now he has a bunch of stock options. Make it a fun group for you to be able to reference. You don't need to call them, hey, George of the Jungle George. You can use their real name. But focus on that niche exclusively and say no to everything else, at least that you're outbound doing marketing for. So 1,000 people. Focus on that niche. So, and if you guys want a worksheet, I did put one together. I'll have this QR code up later, but this walks you through how to develop your niche. And it's on my website. Okay, learn the language of tech. And this should have another point at the back of it, because it's really important to know the language of tech or hire somebody that does it. Because if all these content producers are out there, these influencers, what if they just decide, maybe I'll just get a CFP? That would take 5 years. But if they hired a CFP, that would take 3 months. Not that long. Or if you hired one of them, it's a lot easier to just upgrade your skills, knowledge, and tech. Really important. Another thing is this makes you much more referable. Because if you can create an online presence using the technology that's out there, it's easier for people to find you when they've been referred to you. Be like, I'm comfortable with this person now that I see that they're out there, right? Social media. All these influencers are making content left and right. You can also do that yourself by having a consistent content calendar, getting your face out there. And this doesn't matter if it's B2C or B2B, because people are people at the end of the day. They're making different business decisions, but they're people, right? Finally, advisor birth rate. You can attract talent and clients using these systems by educating people. This also solves the advisor birth rate problem. So, we've gone through a lot of material. If you want to build an enduring business, you have to create trust. Getting your face out there, making content. To make content, you find those information margins and you educate people on those things.
Okay, so are there any questions at this point? We've gone through a lot. I do have a couple exercises to help us create this stuff, but any questions? Should we plow through? Okay? You got the SEO question. That was great. Okay. So, this is our SEO exercise. What we're going to do is, this is an exercise called They Ask, You Answer. And it's very simple. SEO, a lot of people think it's like weird stuff on your website, but it's really just answering the questions that the internet is asking. But not just the internet, just your clients. Because you can then send them questions, or the answers to those questions. But you can also take the answers that you have, and you can use AI to pump that into a blog really easily. So we can do that in a second. How am I doing on time?
You've got plenty of time. That's about 10 minutes.
What?
10 minutes.
10 minutes time? Okay, let's blast through. Steve, I'm going to ask you some questions, right? What are the top questions? Here. What are the top questions? I'm just going to minimize that. What are the top questions that you get from your clients, right? Just about benefits in general, right? Oh, yeah. You can take that.
We're gonna allow them to talk about stuff. Okay, top 10 questions.
What questions are they asking you?
Gosh. I gotta ask a lot of questions. Top 10. Start with
No. Just top one.
top one.
Yeah, this week, what have they asked you?
Why are my benefits so damn expensive?
Why are my benefits expensive? Expensive. Okay, what else? Cost of benefits.
The cost of benefits.
Maybe like, I have questions as to consumers, but, right? Like, can the, what's it called, open enrollment?
What do I get to? Sorry, I'm going to get to. I'll get on this long, some kind of question, especially
have a question?
The question is like, can you regulate the rate for an employee when it wants to hire?
Wait, the waiting period.
Correct, yeah. The answer is no, you can't. So,
Wait for a employee.
yes, that,
One more. Or if anybody else has one, what your clients ask for all the time. What is my renewal? Okay. That's good. What else you got? Is that Gene? Got another question? They don't ask any other questions. Why is it so large? Why is it so large? Why is the deductible so large? What else you got? Anything? How much does it cost to premium?
we also get asked a lot too around specifically a member who would have like a hospital plan. This is advisors do this a lot. Where somebody goes to the hospital for a surgery or procedure and the bills start rolling in through what's there.
Yeah.
That's when the phone starts lighting up. For example, my dad had a heart surgery back in November. Luckily, he's a broker, I'm a broker, we know what to do. But it was a lot. I mean, we are in the industry, but still, it was not easy to get everything sorted out.
So it's like, where are all these bills coming from?
Where are they coming from? What is the insurance paying for? What are they doing? And that's
Okay.
a lot.
That's good. Okay, so these are just questions that the internet asks about these types of things. If we can't think of any questions, we have a great source of what the internet is asking. I'm going to get that mic back. You have to carry it around. So what we're going to do is, sometimes you can't think of a question, but Answer the Phone is a good tool to help you know what people are asking. So I'm just going to type in, should I type in benefits? Benefits. Okay. This is a simple keyword, right? But it's going to give us a list of what people are asking and how frequent they're asking that. It's called search volume, right? They're asking 148 questions about benefits, which is a lot. Benefits. Let's look at a list. Search volume. This means 201,000 people are asking questions about this every month. That's a really good amount of people. You can see that any benefits pre-tax, you guys can probably answer this question yourselves, right? 170 people are asking that. You probably might find something that's about 500 and above, but let's do that one. We can also ask, are benefits considered compensation? Anybody know the answer to that? Yes. Yes? Okay. Well, this is great. Let's do this one. Okay, so we know the answer. Are benefits considered compensation? So what we're going to do is, we're going to turn this into a blog post, right? And we need to do that by using WordPress. So I'm going to make a blog post off of the answer to this question. But I want somebody to actually answer the question for me, if you don't mind. Who is willing to do that? You? The question is, are benefits considered compensation? Okay, give me some more,
I think employees forget about it, and they just think about their payroll, they don't really forget about what the employer's putting into and so they don't really know.
They're a part of your total benefits package.
Part of your total compensation.
Yeah, total compensation package.
That's why it's
Okay, am I missing anything to this answer? Okay. So, we're going to take that. That's, how many characters is this? 170 characters. I can tweak that. But, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to use ChatGPT, and I'm going to create a prompt using that answer. I'm going to call that the transcript. But I want to create a prompt in a very specific way. I need to tell ChatGPT who it is. I don't want to say, like, hey, ChatGPT, what's the answer to this question? I want to say, hey, ChatGPT, you are a benefits expert. I want you to give me, I don't want the blog, right? First I want the output. Because then I, as a professional, can go in and be like, you know, that section needs to be tweaked. So we're first going to ask for an outline to ChatGPT. And I have a very specific way of doing this. It's quite long, but what we do is we ask it, benefits advisor, professional. I wanted to create an outline for me for a specific financial services issue that I will provide at the end of this prompt, right? That's going to be the transcript. Your goal is to create a helpful, engaging article outline that informs potential clients about a specific financial services topic or how our company can help them. You must incorporate the financial planning company that is provided below into the outline. We're going to put that in. Also incorporate thoughts from the transcript at the end of this prompt. So then we go to the process. We want you to go out into the internet and find articles that are also written on this topic. Because somebody's answered these things before. Right? We also tell it how to format the article. We can tell it how to format it because we've said we want this to be done according to SEO principles. Right? We give us some guidance. It should be clear guidance, right? Then what we want to do is we want to incorporate internal and authority links. An authority link is a link from Forbes, right? Or YouTube, a YouTube video. We want authority links from websites that get a lot of traffic because that means they have high domain authority, and if we can link to them, that's a positive signal. That helps us bump up in the search results after time. So, then we want links within our site. Might be trying to do that today. Finally, we want Rank Math, which is a WordPress plugin for SEO. We want that to rank it with 80%, an 80% grade, which means it'll be great for SEO. And we can also do that by incorporating something called keyword density, which means you get benefits in a certain amount, right? We want 1%. So, we're going to take this prompt, I'm going to save it, I'm going to copy it, right? Save and copy, boom. So, topic, benefits. Only one topic. You don't want more than one topic, because then Google gets confused. That's going to be your headline, it's going to be in your headline, right? How much time do I got? I got like 3 minutes? 4? Okay. So we're just going to make this really quickly. We're going to make the outline first. Oh, I'm going to make it short. I'm going to make something that's like 500 words. Let's see. I want to take that transcript that we used earlier. Let's see. Topic. And we want to say... So it's going to dig into the internet. Boom, introduction. Understanding total compensation. The role of employee benefits and financial wellness, right? This is our outline. Oh my gosh, there's so much there. Give us a bunch of resources. Love this. Paychecks.com, US Chamber. These are all high authority sites. Business.com, Indeed.com, Agea.us. Now what we're going to do, I just want to begin here because I don't have a lot of time. But what I want to do is I'm going to take this introduction and I'm going to delete this. I'm going to get back to the outline right there. Next we're going to give it an article prompt. An article section prompt. So I only want to talk about this introduction. Right? So we're going to take this article prompt, article section. Right? Create a section about a specific topic, right? We're going to give it the topic, which is benefits, right? And at the end, we're going to put that transcript in. Topic for section, benefits. Insert. Section article, input. This is where we take this section article, right? Take the introduction. Maybe the understanding total compensation. We're going to take that. And then we're going to take the transcript that we have we already used before. And then we're going to paste that in. Right? I'm running out of time. One more time.
Take your time. We got a little bit.
Oh, yeah. So transcripts. There we go. Save, copy. This gives us something to give to ChatGPT to create an article section. And take that. It gave us a lot of stuff, right? Now it's our turn to act as professionals and say, like, we want to make sure that this is actually real and accurate. We give it that transcript. Okay. Introduction. Okay. Somehow it got rid of financial group because we didn't give it a name. That's okay. So now what we do is we take this, put this into our blog post, right? We take the link, copy link address, business. What is this? Paste it in there. Okay. Boom. And then we're going to you do this for all the article sections, right? And we can see over here. This is rank maps. And we can see benefits. But benefits is not the title keyword. We want this benefits of okay, something like this, right? I'm just spitballing here. This helps us see where are we? How do we get this up to 80? Right? It needs to be longer. The focus keyword is not found in the meta description. What does this mean? When you go up here and change this to focus keyword, you put in benefits. Right? Technically it is. Okay, that brought us up to 60, which is cool. But we still have, it's only 266 words. So we want to get into at least 600 words. We need to build out that blog post by doing the exact same process for each one of those sections. Right? You got to read through this stuff and make sure it actually makes sense. You put a picture in there, right, of you or just anything you find on the internet that's actually accurate, and you have the alternate word for that, benefits. Have the same keyword everywhere, so that when people search for benefits, your content, you're not going to make it on the first page as the first day. That's a long-term strategy, but it does help you bump up the article page. Bump up in the search results on the search engine result page. We can use that prompt. So what I did was, just because we'll go through this, I wanted to go through this. We just went through that, right? That can take, it can take you 2 weeks to write a blog post, or it can take you 4 hours to write a blog post using this technology. So if we can use this technology, create content for the audience that they're actually asking about, stay in front of them on a consistent basis, they have a much better chance of reducing that advisor. What was that?
I have a question.
Oh, you do?
So you do that.
Yeah.
And then where is the best place to then start hosting this?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
So, wherever you have an audience, don't just ask, after you create this blog post, then you publish it on your website, right? Ideally you have your website, you post it on your website. But that's really only the beginning, right? What I would do is, hey, you email it to everybody you have and say, hey, we wrote this article on this topic. And then, I would create a video about that, right? Using a script, and you can give them, you can take the blog post, you can ask ChatGPT, hey, make me a cool script about this, right? Take it 5 minutes, make it engaging, and put like a Caddyshack pun in there, right? You can make that content with ChatGPT, make a video about it on your phone, on a daily basis, or you can batch it for once a month, right? So you can take the content, put it on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's a great place to put all this stuff, as long as you're doing it on a consistent basis. You can take that blog post, and it doesn't even start with a blog post. It can start with the actual questions that your clients are asking you. But you can take that and you can put it on LinkedIn on a consistent basis, on email, wherever you have a distribution point, wherever you're interfacing with clients is a great way to do it. If you're trying to create content for events like this, also a great way to distribute that message too. So, yeah. I put together, so everybody has Well, technically we use two. We use the article and then we use the article section. I have 99 more. I made these for advisors and then for benefits professionals and insurance professionals. These are all on the website. You can use a, if you want to scan your QR code, I'll also send you the text so you have it too. But these, how can you just use, you can type these in. It teaches you how to actually use it. And you can type them in the ChatGPT to really harness that power, right? I put the presentation in there. If you want a copy of my book, The Digital Marketing Book, go to the website or speak with me. I have a few copies. And also I have the niche website, or niche worksheet on there. So, if there's no more questions, we got a question. Yeah. How's this?
Yeah.
There you go. You see that?
It works. It works.
There you go. If my website crashes, that's it should. I host webinars on a weekly basis or monthly basis as well on these topics and then other digital marketing topics, SEO, local service ads, which are really cool. So if you want to learn about when I'm going to be hosting them, I can send emails to people about when they are. I'll be here throughout the rest of the day. I'm flying back to New Jersey. Oh, by the way, I might as well take a minute to talk about my podcast really quickly. It's not an interview podcast. It's a narrative podcast. We won an award last year. It's about New Jersey history, and it's called Hometown History. It's on Spotify. You can listen. We had our first episode was about Edwin Doubleday and how he was not the founder of modern baseball. Well, there's a town, a sign in my town that says he was the founder and he lived here. He did live here, but he was not the founder. So we're like, why is this existing at all? So we investigate this. It's really good. So you can listen to that too. I'll be here until about 5. If you have any questions. Thank you very much.